Hello students, today we are going to be looking at the book, The History of Juneteenth. We're going to be reading this book as Juneteenth approaches to learn more about this holiday and the significance of it. As you can see, there are 8 chapters with a glossary, bibliography about the author, and about the illustrator. Chapter 1, Setting the Stage. Understanding Juneteenth. When Sarah Ashley was a child, she thought about a life different from her own. She imagined playing outside and laughing with her friends. She dreamed about freedom. She wanted to be an ordinary kid. Unfortunately, she could not. Sarah Ashley was born enslaved. She was forced to work under harsh and dangerous conditions. She was considered the property of another person. She was bought and sold without her permission, as if she were an item in a store. Sarah's entire family had been sold too. They were separated and sent to other places. She knew that slavery was evil. She knew she was supposed to be free. Instead of thinking about the awful and scary work, she dreamed of the day that everything would change. On June 19, 1865, Sarah encountered her burst of freedom. This book is about Sarah Ashley's journey from slavery to a new world of dreams. It is also about the history of a holiday called Juneteenth, a celebration of that journey. Although the story is full of determination and courage, many of the chapters will teach us about the difficulties that Sarah and other African Americans face. At times while reading, you may feel discouraged, but I invite you to think like Sarah, dream, and focus on freedom. By doing so, you will be inspired to keep trying no matter what obstacles you may face. And by the end, you'll have all the joy you need to celebrate Juneteenth. I hope you are encouraged to imagine and create a new world just like Sarah Ashley. Before we jump in the think tank, I want to go back to this map. And I want you to go ahead and look at it and see how it's arranged. So you can see it's kind of, the United States is for the most part divided into these 3 sections, with the southern states looking like the brown ones towards the bottom. The northern states are the lighter shaded ones towards the top. And then the red ones are called territories at this time. They have not yet been divided into states. So it's just kind of sitting there, but it's not north or south at this time. All right, let's jump in the think tank. What are some other important holidays in history, and how do you celebrate those holidays? I want you to pause the video, and with your paper and your pencil, I want you to answer both of these questions. Go ahead and write down one important holiday, an important holiday for you personally, and then write a little summary about how you celebrate those holidays. Pause this video, and when you're done answering those questions, go ahead and unpause and we will continue the story. Slavery in America. Hundreds of years ago, people throughout the world traveled to the continent of Africa. Africa was a very rich continent. Several West African countries had large cities. Many Africans were wealthy and successful. White people from Europe did not see Africans as equals. They believed people who were not European were inferior. These racist ideas became very popular. Europeans captured and enslaved Africans. Europeans used slavery throughout the world. When they colonized America, they brought slavery with them. By 1804, slavery was illegal in the northern United States. In the southern states, it was still allowed. Many southern farms were big plantations that needed a lot of labor to make money. Southern farmers did not pay enslaved people. They made even more money this way. Enslaved Africans were forced to work every day. Enslavers viewed them as property, not as people. Enslaved people faced violence from enslavers. They could also be sold to other enslavers at any time. Families could be separated, like Sarah's was. Enslaved people fought back. Some ran away or refused to work. They even formed an underground railroad that secretly helped enslaved people escape to the northern states. Who? Harriet Tubman escaped slavery in Maryland in 1849. She returned to the South to help more than 70 enslaved people to freedom. Later, she was a spy in the Civil War. In order to stop enslaved people from escaping, the United States Congress passed laws called the Fugitive Slave Acts. These laws said anyone who escaped slavery had to be returned to their enslavers. One law even allowed Southerners to travel to the North to capture free black people and bring them back to slavery. This law meant that even if enslaved people made it to the North, they were never free. When? Go ahead and look at this timeline with me. When? 1619. Enslaved Africans arrive in America. 1793. The first Fugitive Slave Act is passed. 1804. Slavery is illegal in the northern states. 1850. The second Fugitive Slave Act is passed. Chapter 2. The Civil War. The North versus the South. After northern states abolished slavery, life for black people in the North got better. They could be paid for their work and even go to school. In southern states, black people still were not free. They could not work for themselves or move about freely. Learning to read was also illegal. If black people tried to leave plantations, they faced violence. Soon, the country started to expand west. As new states and territories became part of America, northern and southern states began to clash. Would the new territories be allowed to use enslaved labor? And more important, who would decide whether a territory became a slave state or a free state? In 1854, politicians decided to add Kansas and Nebraska to the United States. Southerners wanted these territories to become slave states. They did not want the free states to outnumber them. The North argued that Kansas and Nebraska should be free states. By 1860, the country was in trouble. At the end of the year, a new president, Abraham Lincoln, was elected. He was against the spread of slavery. Enslavers in southern states decided they no longer wanted to be part of the United States. They seceded and created a new constitution. They even elected their own president. They called the country the Confederate States of America. The northern states were known as the Union. The southern states were called the Confederacy. The split led to the Civil War. All right, let's jump back in the think tank and get your papers and pencils ready. We have two questions to answer. First is, why did enslavers fight to spread slavery? And why did others fight against the spread of slavery? Please answer both of these questions. Pause the video, and when you're done, unpause and we'll keep reading. Who? Abraham Lincoln became president in 1861. He used his first speech to ask Southerners to stay in the Union. 1 month later, however, the war began. The fight for freedom. On April 12, 1861, the Civil War broke out at Fort Sumter in South Carolina. The Union lost the first battle. President Lincoln was worried, so he increased the number of Union troops. The Union Army was larger, but most of the war was fought in the South. The Confederate troops knew the land better than the Union soldiers. The armies next faced the Battle of Bull Run in Virginia. The Confederate Army won this battle too. At the next fight, the Battle of Shiloh in Tennessee, the Union won. Many soldiers were injured or died. The Union win did not feel like a victory. Go ahead and take a look at the map. This is showing where the different battles were fought. So we see Fort Sumter, Shiloh, Antietam, and Bull Run. Throughout the war, many Southerners continued to use enslaved black people to work their farms. Enslaved people also worked in factories to make the materials the Confederacy needed to fight the war. As fighting continued in the South, many homes and entire towns were destroyed. When the Civil War started, many Americans believed it would last only a few months and the North would easily win. They were wrong. The Civil War turned out to be long and deadly. Union and Confederate soldiers faced hardship. The war affected everyone in the country. When? November 6, 1860. Abraham Lincoln is elected president. February 1861. The Confederate States create a constitution. April 12, 1861. The Civil War begins. July 21st, 1861. The Battle of Bull Run is fought. April 6th through 7th, 1862. The Battle of Shiloh is fought. September 17th, 1862. The Battle of Antietam is fought. Chapter 3. The Emancipation Proclamation. An important step. The Union Army struggled at first. President Abraham Lincoln knew he had to change his strategy to defeat the Confederacy. Southerners continued to use enslaved people to make money and fight the war. Lincoln began to think of ways to abolish slavery in the Confederacy. Enslaved people did not wait for his plan. When the war started, they began to seek freedom. By 1862, thousands of black people had escaped. Many wanted not only freedom, but also to fight for the Union Army. They were not allowed to fight, however, because of the color of their skin. In 1862, Lincoln began talking about freeing enslaved people. He worried that others would not support his decision. Black leaders like Frederick Douglass urged the president to abolish slavery and allow black men to join the Union Army. On January 1st, 1863, Abraham Lincoln issued the Emancipation Proclamation. It stated that black people in Confederate states who were no longer enslaved across the country, people celebrated. Who? Frederick Douglass was a famous politician, abolitionist, and speaker. Douglass escaped slavery at age 20. Once free, he dedicated his life to ending slavery and speaking out against racism. The Emancipation Proclamation did not mean all enslaved people were free immediately. Southern enslavers did not want to obey the proclamation. Enslaved people still had to escape and make it to the Union Army. Confederate soldiers and some Southerners made it very hard for them. Many people were hurt or caught as they tried to leave. Others were brought back to their enslavers and punished. But people continued to seek freedom. The Emancipation Proclamation allowed black men to join the Union Army. Almost 200,000 black men signed up. Now the Union had many more soldiers to help win the war. All right, jump in the think tank. Get your paper and pencil out. This will be your last question for the session. Why do you think the Confederacy did not obey the Emancipation Proclamation? This is the end of this video, so go ahead and make sure you answer that question, and then we'll see you again next time to continue Chapter 3.